What's up, everybody? I want to talk today more about how to avoid getting pulled into like worse depression this year. And I know depression is a very deep topic, and it's not like a one thing fits all for depression and whatnot. But I feel like in our lives today, in our modern lives, we do things that make our lives worse. We do things that make our mental health so much worse. And so these are five things that I have kind of figured out in my life. Now, these aren't like life changing things per se, but these are things that people don't do enough of. And so, not in any specific order, but I want to talk more about if you can do these five things every day, it'll almost be impossible for you to be depressed to a certain degree. Like, I get it, it's not a one size fits all type thing, but it'll make it a lot harder. Number one, go outside, right? Like, we don't spend enough time outside. There's a lot of science behind getting outside early in the day, getting grounded, getting like sunlight, getting sun rays early on in the day or just throughout the day. I'm sure the science is probably just about right on that, but get outside. Humans were not meant to spend the entire day indoors looking at computer screens, right? Like if we spend all day in a dark enclosed room looking at a computer, on social media, on these things that make ourselves feel so much worse. Like, no wonder we're all dealing with some mental health. Go outside, get some fresh air, go on a walk. I can't describe to you how much better I feel when I get outside and I just unplug from everything. I feel so much better. Number two, eat better foods. Eat whole, single ingredient foods. Nowadays, you go into a grocery store, and I just challenge you to just go and pick up your favorite product, like your favorite snack or whatnot. Just turn it over and look at the ingredients. Not only are you going to find probably like 50 ingredients in like a Cheez-It, you're also going to find some like artificial coloring. And, that's a whole rabbit hole that you can go down yourself. These things are making us feel so bad. When's the last time you ate a ton of food and actually felt good? I've heard so many people talk about going overseas to like different countries, eating these massive meals and feeling better than they would have after just like eating a snack in the United States. In the US alone, our foods are so incredibly toxic for your gut. Like, are they going to kill you? Probably not. But if you just look at the ingredients on a lot of these foods that we eat, they're so bad for you. If you can try to avoid eating highly processed foods, you're going to feel so much better. And with that too, if you can avoid drinking alcohol too, alcohol is going to be a huge cause of depression. And it's also going to do massive things to your gut biome as well. So if you can eat healthier whole foods, try to avoid these heavily processed foods, try to avoid alcohol as much as possible, guarantee you will feel better. I feel so much better after I quit drinking. And I still don't have the best diet, but it's tough. It's really hard nowadays. There's so many things that kind of get you. There's so many really cool snacks and food, even like really healthy, what you would consider healthy food. It's not necessarily that healthy nowadays. Number three, and one of the biggest ones, is to stop isolating, right? Like nowadays in our age of technology, we don't hang out with people enough. Like we don't get together in groups as much as we used to. Back in the day, and this is kind of a wild example, but back in like the 50s, 60s and whatnot, like people would go to like your local like restaurant and like hang out like all night. Like groups of kids would hang out in like your diner, right? For like the entire night. I'm sure kids are still out and about today, but I just don't see it, right? Like I live in like a suburban neighborhood, and there's like a decent amount of kids, and like the younger kids are always outside playing, but like some of your high school kids, like the older kids who can actually drive, weirdly enough, they don't leave the house very often. And like as a high schooler, man, I just feel like kids were never home, right? But we got to stop isolating ourselves. When we isolate ourselves and we sit on social media all day, like no wonder we feel terrible. We scroll, we see people telling us how we should live a better life, be more productive, be this, be that, and then we start looking at our own lives and we're like, well, shoot, am I just not doing enough? And that's when, a little bit of anxiety kicks in. Maybe that depression hits a little bit harder, and we're like, am I wasting my life? Am I doing this? I'm doing that. And yeah, if you're sitting by yourself all day on social media, you are wasting your life, I would say. Not that it's not good to have some alone time or some downtime, because that is very important too. But we're isolating ourselves too much. We're focusing so much more on technology to help us instead of real people to help us. Number 4, moving our bodies, working out. Gotta work out. Gotta move our bodies. Enough people are literally moving. I mean, if I didn't make the conscious effort to move to work out, I would wake up, get in my car, drive 30 minutes to work, sit at a desk for 8 hours a day, leave work, drive all the way home, and then eat dinner, sit on the couch for the rest of the night. Like, that is the reality of a lot of people in this world, mostly in the U.S., of course. Everywhere we go, we got to take our car. If, a lot of jobs people have, you sit at a desk all day. So you're not moving your body. You're not working out. People are more obese than they've ever been. Mix that with bad foods, and that's why you get this obesity pandemic. But if you're able to work out every single day, and I'm not saying you have to go to the gym and bench press 400 pounds. It's like, go on a walk, and that can also coincide with number 1, which I said was go outside. If you can go outside and take a walk or just work out outside, then I feel like you're in great shape. We got to move our bodies. That's how we really start feeling better about ourselves, is getting in better shape. If you're carrying extra weight, of course, that's harder on your body. That's harder on your all your different organs, and then your mind as well. And so, of course, people were doing these things since the beginning of time, which is literally being outside, eating decent foods. They were never isolating themselves, and then they were working out. They were walking. They were doing things every day. And so we've really lost that in modern society. Number 5, and also very important, it's going to be a mixture of helping others. So volunteering, helping others, but also finding a higher power. So finding faith, right? If you are the only person that you serve on a day-to-day basis, we've gotten very self-centered as a society, but you're never going to get any remote happiness from only serving yourself. I can't tell you how good I felt when I volunteered. It was like a work event, and we were packing meals for kids in, I want to say, South America or wherever they were taking those meals. And it felt so good to do something like that, because it's like, what would I have been doing if I hadn't volunteered? I would have been sitting on my phone or doing this or doing that. But there's this really good sense of just like you did something great today when you volunteer. And then like the second half of that is, if you find something like faith or something that is greater than yourself, you'll have another purpose to live for, right? And when you're only kind of living for yourself, I feel like you're always just going to fall a little short. You're always just going to be chasing your own goals, which chasing goals is fine. It's just when you really self-indulge too much, I feel like it can be really hurtful towards your mental state, but also just getting out there and volunteering and helping others is something that I have found that will bring a good sense of happiness to you. And honestly, it's obviously just an incredible thing to be doing, is helping others. So that's going to wrap up the video. Go outside, eat better foods, stop isolating, work out every day, or at least do something, and then volunteer or find a higher power. So thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.